'Tis the season!
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome back to another video. The Ska'drin Celebration update is officially here. This is the final update for Paladins of the year, and it comes with a bunch of balance changes as well as a new event pass with a whole bunch of recolors that I think you'll enjoy. So, let's get straight into it. But actually, before we get started, real quick, I just want to remind you that if you're looking to buy the new event pass or any of the other skins this update, then make sure to buy the crystals for it over here at my Nexus, nexus.gg/AndrewChicken. You can buy crystals here, support the channel directly in the process, and it's officially affiliated with Evil Mojo, so yeah, there's really no downside to doing it. I'd really appreciate your support. Back to the video. So first and foremost, there is a new event pass which has replaced the street style flashback pass that was available last patch. So that was the one that had all the original street style skins in it. The actual new event pass with the new skins in it, like Abby Ice doing a T-pose. That event pass is still here. You still have 43 days left to complete that pass, and this new pass has 84 days remaining in it, and it contains a whole bunch of recolor skins for limited skins that previously have not been available at all up until this point. So we have this blue recolor of Makoa, which looks pretty sick. We also have this color of Ultimatum Fernando. This was of course, the ranked skin for this year, so nice to see a recolor for that.
Rei.
Then we have this recolor of this Beach Rei skin, which I didn't even realize was limited, but I guess it is. So hey, there's a recolor of that for people who really want this skin. Then there is Abyssal Lord Drogo's looking pretty sick up in here with his red and gold recolor. And then finally, the skin I'm most looking forward to is the Chieftain Grok recolor, and this was the Season 1 ranked skin, and previously it has not been available up until this point in any form of recolors. So, now the only ranked skin that doesn't have a recolor is Inventor Pip. Very sad for Pip mains out here. But otherwise, yeah, pretty nice roster of skins, and most of the recolors look pretty good. There is also one more skin to remember for this update, and that is another Makoa recolor called Shikoa, which is white and pink. So, yeah, goofy little bubblegum Makoa skin or something? I don't know. But, yeah, those are the skins this update. There is also a new limited quest line here that you can see under activities called Merry Mayhem Returns. And there are a whole bunch of rewards listed out here on the patch notes for different quests that you can complete basically in sequence. So, first of all, you just play one match, you get the Happy Holidays title. Then you do things like capture 2 siege objectives, deal damage in a match, etc., to get gold, crystals, a bunch of chests, and there's also a redacted quest on the patch notes here at the very end, which will give you a limited Has Saved Realm Mist title. So I can't even tell you what the quest is, you'll just have to figure it out once you get there. That's pretty cool. Next up on the agenda, we have improved crowd control and status effect conveyance. Now this simply means that they have done a better job of denoting in the descriptions of every single champion which effects are crowd control versus status effects, and generally which abilities apply any effect at all. So as you can see here on Omen, there is a lot more colorful text, and all of the text lifted in blue is a crowd control effect. So as you can see on Deadly Domain, we have the slow, and then on Gravity Vice we have the lift, and then also the push. And there are also status effects listed in a variety of different colors, such as the purple poison over here, weakened, and then burn, which is another status effect that'll apply a damage over time effect. So it just makes it a little bit clearer, especially for newer players, what specific crowd control effects are. And they've also done a pass over every single crowd control effect in the game to unify how they are actually named, because certain things had weird names. For example, on the patch notes here, it lists that Netshot used to say reduces movement speed when it should have just said, oh hey, it slows them. So they have basically unified and better denoted all of the crowd control and status effects across the game. Next, there are a few mode updates to go over. First of all, for Siege, they have updated the matchmaking algorithm. When looking for a match, Casual Siege will now prioritize matching parties of 3 or less with each other, and parties of 4 or 5 will be prioritized towards other larger parties. So this was tested previously in Onslaught and Arcade, and apparently the results have been so good that they wanted to move them over to Siege, which is certainly, hopefully, a good idea. Hopefully it means that Siege matchmaking will be even better. So yeah, looking forward to trying that out. Also, there are some limited time mode updates. There's a new limited time mode this update, TDM Roulette. Draft your team carefully in this gun game-inspired Throne TDM. Every time you die, you randomly swap to another champion on your team. So that's very goofy. And also, my favorite limited time mode, Truly Talented, is getting a couple of other updates. They have added Atlas to the champion pool with Flashback Fissure, which is basically unstable fissure from way back in the day. It would activate Second Chance to leave behind an unstable fissure that explodes after 3 seconds, dealing 1000 damage. They removed Yaggaroth entirely, thank goodness for that. And they've also done a few other things to really play to the nostalgia features of this mode. So they have decreased the starting credits from 500 to 400, decreased the earn rate from the objective, and they've also replaced certain maps with their classic variations, Stone Keep, Baldur's Gate, Timbermill, while removing maps that released or reworked after Season 2, being Frozen Guard and Dawnforge. No Dawnforge and Truly Talented. Isn't that amazing? And also, bug fixes. They have fixed the issue where certain talents were not available for players to select, so all of the new talents that we got to see a few updates ago but couldn't actually play will now be available in Truly Talented, which is a very good thing. Alright, now it's time to talk about balance. Let's look at the item changes up first. First and foremost, Haven and Blast Shields are back. They are replacing Armor Plating and Arcane Warding. So if you don't remember what Haven and Blast Shields were, these were items that made it so that you would reduce the damage you take from either direct attacks or area of effect attacks. And this introduces a much more healthy damage reduction split because there are a lot more reasons to pick Blast Shields over Haven than there were reasons to pick Arcane Warding over Armor Plating. Both of these scale at 6% damage reduction per tier at 300 credits, and yeah, if you don't know how to distinguish area damage versus direct damage, well, there's a helpful little tooltip. If you press K, or just go to any champion's description page and look at their abilities, you can see underneath the name of each ability whether it is direct or area damage. So Androxus is a great example. He has 2 abilities that are direct and 2 that are area damage. The Revolver and the Reversal are both direct damage, so if Ying bought Haven, she would take less damage from these attacks. And the Ultimate and Punch are both area damage, so if Victor buys Blast Shields, he'll take less damage from these attacks. So, you'll really need to strategize whether you pick Blast Shields or Haven based on what enemies you have on the enemy team. If you have a bunch of blasters like Drogos and BK, obviously Blast Shields is the best choice. If you have a bunch of direct damage characters like, I don't know, Androxus is mostly direct to be honest, or Victor or someone like that, Haven is the best choice, and if you have a good mix of both, maybe just go for Veteran instead. Scales at 6%, blocks everything, and also is cheaper. Yeah, that's a thing too. Next, in terms of the item store, we have a major buff to Nimble. Nimble is now scaling at 10% per tier, so at level 3, we get a whopping 30% movement speed. Yeah, everyone's going to be zooming this patch. This is a buff that's made pretty much purely just for fun. And after that, we have one final very major change to Horde. Horde now has a fundamentally different effect at level 3. So, the Tier 1 and Tier 2 items will both provide credits on elimination and passively every 15 seconds. So, if I kill Ying, boom, oh yeah, that's right, that doesn't kill. Then, I will get a bonus from Horde, and I'm also just passively getting credits every couple of seconds. But, at level 3, you see the price of this item just went drastically up to 1,750 credits, and that's because at level 3 it transforms to grant 10% of every other effect in the yellow category. So 10% movement speed, mount speed, cooldown reduction, and ultimate generation. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So, if you run into a late game scenario where you've maxed out your credits, then you can still upgrade Horde to level 3 and be able to get all these additional effects. However, at level 3, it will stop generating credits for you, so you really have to strategize when you actually want to max out this item or not. But it does now mean you can get even more Chronos, or even more Morale Boost, or even more Nimble, which is very silly. And if I just buy this here, you can see how I'm really stacking that with Nimble 3, and I am just moving so fast with Androxus right now. There will be some very tiny diminishing returns, but I'm still moving at almost 40% faster. So that is a pretty interesting change to Horde. They're trying to make it a much more viable item than it was previously. Alright, let's rapid fire through these balance changes here. First of all, Forge Fire, as you can see, has been buffed. It does more damage, both in terms of the single target damage that it does when one turret is firing at someone, and the damage when both turrets are firing at someone. Look at that, that's a quick kill. They've also improved the range of the turrets, so in general, Forge Fire is a little bit more savory this update. Betty La Bamba's ultimate now provides crowd control immunity, finally, a well-needed change. And also, it travels a little bit faster after you fire it out, just like that. And they have also changed one of her cards that provided a damage bonus because they are removing cards that provide damage bonuses this update. So they have changed Ride the Rocket to increase the projectile speed of Cluster Grenade instead. Bomb King is getting an exciting buff to Accelerant. This talent will now increase the damage Grumpy Bomb deals to shields by 200%, so we're now looking at a 2,400 damage explosion on Grumpy Bomb versus shields. Very interesting. Evie is getting a couple of changes. First of all, on Snow Globe, the ultimate has less of a slow. 50% less, as a matter of fact. They are now only slowed by 30%, meaning that if you buy Nimble 3, you actually will be moving at a speed of net 0 inside of the Ice Storm, which is very interesting. And also, they have reworked Cold Acclamation, one of the most unpopular cards for Evie. This card will now make it so that she gains up to 50% movement speed during the Ice Storm and for 3 seconds after leaving Ice Storm. And there's also a tiny heal attached. That one's honestly irrelevant. So yeah, very cool changes. Grover got the tiniest buff imaginable. Chopper has been doubled in its scaling, up to a 500 heal after hitting an enemy with Crippling Throw. That's it. Io's ultimate will now glide along walls, kind of. Yeah, there we go. That's a decent example of it. It's really glitchy, and it gets stuck on the tiniest thing, but it is indeed a change that will hopefully make it a bit easier to actually secure some value out of your IO ults, instead of it exploding on the first wall and just, yeah, getting completely stuck and being useless. And they have also, by the way, fixed the issue that showed up on the PTS where this slow-crawling ultimate like that was not working, so they have managed to fix that before it went into live servers. Kasumi is getting a whole host of changes, and the first is that she is now effectively a hit scan. She's still technically using an aim cone on the back end, and that's why you see these blue lines showing up around Ying still, but she's effectively just a hit scan like the rest of the roster now. As you can see, for me to actually put my aim on this Ying and start hitting her, it's about the same distance away as I would need to aim for something like Cassie's projectile. This is just hit scan, so just think of it as big hit scan now. This is officially not auto-aim in any stretch of the imagination. She also now has fall off on her hit scan too. As you can see here, I'm not quite doing full damage at this range, so yeah, she really is basically just a hit scan at this point. They have also reworked 2 of her cards and put one of those cards into Haunted Ground. So Deadly Traps has been reworked and the cooldown reduction has been put into Haunted Ground. So Haunted Ground now has a 6-second cooldown after activation instead of an 8-second cooldown. And the new Deadly Traps will simply increase the duration of Spirit Trap's crowd control effects by up to 1 second. More importantly, they have reworked one of her most popular cards, Essence Drain, which increased the damage of her Savage Tear. And as you know, they're removing every single card that increases a character's damage this update, and this was prime for the chopping block. So on the PTS, they were going to rework originally to increase her damage reduction by 30% for 2 seconds after using Savage Tear. Thankfully, that's not happening. Oh my gosh. Instead, they have made it so that this card increases your movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds after using Savage Tear. Real quick, I almost forgot. The change that they did to Khan on the PTS to Leon's shield has been completely reverted because it was a total failure. So, no changes for Khan this update. Next, we have a couple changes to Lex. First of all, Heroism now simply states that it gives you immunity to crowd control during combat slide. Previously, this talent gave you immunity to crowd control and 50% damage reduction, but at the cost of more than doubling the cooldown of combat slide. That wasn't fun. So, this is a lot simpler and actually ends up being a lot more effective because that cooldown penalty is gone. Also, on the PTS, they reworked Wicked Don't Rest to heal you after combat slide. They have reverted that because they felt they were too heavy-handed with nerfing Lex this update, so Wicked Don't Rest will remain as a card that reduces the cooldown of combat slide by 20% for each enemy hit by your weapons, which you'll notice, it appears to be back to the percent-based version of Wicked Don't Rest instead of the flat cooldown reduction, so that's pretty nifty. And then also they have adjusted his screen shake. It is so much easier to aim with this character now, because the screen shake is drastically reduced. Look at that. That is, yeah, fantastic. It means that now keyboard and mouse players have more options than just Death Hastens. Yay! Maldamba got an interesting change to Pungent Gourd. They have drastically increased its scaling from 5% to 8%, so now this card is effectively as strong as Sky's movement speed card Dissipate, 40% movement speed while allies are in your gourd. So yeah, throw this down, move very, very fast. Yeah, it's interesting. Still not an excuse to play the Talent Ripened Gourd, please never let me catch you playing that, but hey, it's a new interesting card option for Maldamba if you want to play it. Nyx's card Center of Combat, which previously increased the damage of Royal Presence's poison, now causes the poison to linger on enemies for 4 seconds. So they removed that from base kit, and then put it into a card, admittedly weaker. In base kit it was 6 seconds of duration, now it's 4 seconds of duration on the poison if you use this card. But as you can see, leave the enemies, and the poison will linger on them for the next 4 seconds, just like that. So, it's a way to still get more effectiveness out of the damage of your poison, without outright increasing the damage directly. Omen has quite a few card changes, as well as a change to his base primary fire. So, the primary fire now only needs 1 shot to fully wind down into Entumber mode, which is, of course, the rifle mode, as I commonly refer to it. So, you see, shotgun spread, and then boom, tiny wind down into the rifle accurate mode. And this means that his primary fire is now effectively just like another regular rifle character, very similar to Leon. But you can still, of course, semi-auto if you want the shotgun, but I think most people are just going to hold down the primary fire anyways and just use this because it's so much more accurate. Now let's check out the card changes. There are so many here. So first of all, Everlasting Power has been changed, and this card used to give him ultimate charge. Now it makes it so that whenever you mark an unmarked enemy with Ominous Brand, gain up to 40% movement speed for 3 seconds. So pretty powerful card, although I am surprised that they changed the ultimate generation card, considering I thought the card was fine. But then after that, we have more. This is the most important card change here, because this is another one that increased damage. And of course, those have to go. So this card now makes it so that while at least 2 enemies are marked by Ominous Brand, you heal for 300 every second. So you get your own personal Genos mark, but only if you spray your shots on multiple people. It's a weird one. Finally, there is a rework to Void Choke. This card previously increased the damage of Gravity Vice, and now this increased the lift height of Gravity Vice, opening up some interesting synergy potential with Wrathful Descent. Rei has gotten a metric crap ton of changes this update, so let's go through them all. First of all, she has a new passive, Mana Drain. Hitting enemies with Sigil will reduce the cooldown of your Nyx chain heals. So throw out a few shots, and then, as you can see, I am reducing the cooldown of my chain heal per shot now, and this is just a base kit thing. You don't need to use Magic in the Blood. That's because Magic in the Blood has been reworked, which we will get to in a second. After that, the Spirit Link has increased the time to break from 2.25 seconds to 3 seconds in base kit, and this is to match up with Focus as well, which has been shifted. The duration of Focus is now 3 seconds, so that's been nerfed by 1 second. However, the cooldown is also now 6 seconds, so some slight tweaking on that as well. Finally, Envelop has removed the damage done while close to enemies. Yeah, it did damage. I know most people didn't know that, but it did. And also, they have increased the jump height bonus from 50 to 75%. Notably, they were going to nerf the movement speed bonus from 40% to 30%, and that has been reverted. Now let's check out all of these card changes, because there are a bunch. First of all, Arcane Maelstrom. Using your Envelop reduces your linked friendly target's cooldowns, has been buffed from 4% scaling to 7% scaling, so now we have a whopping 35% cooldown reduction. Pretty neat. Arcane Manipulation, as you can see here, has also been drastically buffed. It has more than doubled its scaling from 0.3 seconds to 0.8 seconds, providing a whopping 4 seconds of cooldown reduction on Envelop now. Oh my gosh. Desperate Defense also been buffed from 50 to 80 healing. Enveloping Magic has been reworded and shifted to decrease the maximum damage taken per instance during Envelop to 255. This card is effectively the same, but it's just a little bit clearer how it works now. Magic in the Blood, of course, has been reworked. This increases your healing received by up to 25% while at or below 50% health, so that's pretty interesting for self-sustain. And finally, Threat and Subject has been reworked, or actually has been buffed from 8% scaling to 10% scaling, and this is the card that would increase your movement speed after earning an elimination. Let's take a look at Saati, because they are changing around her coin yet again. First of all, coin talent, Spare Change, has been reworked again to cause Ricochet to now cost 2 pips, and earning an elimination will grant you an additional 2 pips. So you basically now have sort of cooldown reduction on kill with Saati. It's the closest thing to that anyways. And also the new coin will now basically make it so that you shoot it, it ricochets once, and then it explodes, dealing 750 damage. So much faster paced gameplay on Saati now, and you can't simply just sit in the back and spam the coin like you could with old coin-based playstyles. The coin is now a much more active ability. It's basically like Drogo's Fire Spit, except hit scan, harder to hit, and then with a little bit of a delay to it, but really big damage still, and you can spam them a lot more. So it's an interesting shift to the ability. Also, they have changed a few cards for Saati, so let's look at those now. Costly Physics has been reworked to increase the damage radius of Ricochet's explosion by up to 40%, so you can have an even bigger explosion if you want. Steel Coin Purse. This is the card that provides damage reduction after Ricochet is deployed. It has been buffed from 3% scaling to 4% scaling, and it now lasts half a second longer. And then finally, Paper Design. This piece of garbage is still garbage, but it's doubled the scaling, so it's double the garbage. Decrease the time between bursts of dead ringers in hand fire by 8%. Yippee. Still useless. Seris is still getting her pretty major soft rework this update in regards to Soul Collector being in base kit. As you can see now, I'm playing for Sake. Let me just double lock it in. There we go. And if I just detonate these soul marks, boom, you can see I get my stacks, and now all of a sudden I'm doing more damage and I have more health. And this now requires 16 stacks instead of 12 to be at full effectiveness, and also the marks will cleanse in between rounds, so you'll have to rebuild them at the start of every single round. Now, of course, since Soul Collector is in base kit, they had to replace it with a new talent, and the version they replaced it with on the PTS, if you remember, was utterly overpowered. 50% ultimate charge for dealing weapon damage, and it's stacked with the Ultimate Generation card. Yeah, that was busted, and they have ditched it completely, and instead they have whipped up something much more safe. Instead, this is called Resuscitate, and this is just a better version of Soul Collector. It amplifies the health and weapon damage you get of Soul Collector. So I can grab this, and then I can get some stacks real quick, and let's see how this improves your Soul Collector. So, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, just like that. 12 stacks, and I'm now at 2,700 HP and dealing 260 damage. So these extra 4 stacks here that I'm going to get will make me deal 276 damage per shot and have 2,900 hit points just like that. So, yeah, pretty cool way to empower your damage Seris even more, or of course you could just stack Soul Collector with Internal Torment and provide your team that damage bonus as well, so you do have a few different options for Seris here. Finally, they have done a massive update to Bane, so look at this. Every Soul Orb stack you detonate increases your movement speed by 5% for 5 seconds, and this effect can stack up to 80%, refreshing the timer each time. So let me just quickly save that, and then let's get 12 whole stacks out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. And all of a sudden I'm moving very, very fast. And if you somehow manage to get another Ren Soul within 5 seconds of using Bane, because of course this duration lasts for 5 seconds, then you will actually be able to refresh the timer and compound the buff even further. So if you were to run a build like this with Wickedness, and then also, of course, grab maybe some Chronos, except I don't have credits, so we're just going to roll with it and hope that the cooldown is low enough, then you could do this, and then hopefully be able to stack them. Although I think I probably do actually need some Chronos for this. Oh, nope, never mind, there we go. Okay, just stack it up again. Let me get more of these, and then detonate the Rensil, boom, just like that. And you can see... yeah, I'm moving lightning fast right now with Seris. So Bane all of a sudden just became a much more impactful card. Thankfully, they have also reverted the Sand Trap nerf. They were going to remove the cripple from this talent, but that was a really bad idea, so they have restored it, and Sha Lin is not getting changed this update either. Torvald is getting a few interesting power shifts. First of all, his shield to health ratio has been changed, so he now has 2,700 shield hit points. However, he now only has 2,800 regular base hit points. So if you don't have any wrecker, his base effective hit points are exactly the same. However, when the enemies do buy wrecker, Torvald will be a little bit squishier now because a larger portion of his health bar is, as a matter of fact, a shield. They have also nerfed the protection from 550 health to 500. This is slowly, with every single patch, becoming a non-existent ability. Oh my gosh. And then finally, they have also reworked 2 of his cards, so let's quickly take a look at those. Induction has been reworked to reduce the protection cooldown by up to 2 seconds after using Recharge, which is a very interesting card, and it has a 5-second internal cooldown, so this is a way to spam protection even more. And then also Infusion has been reworked to heal for up to 150 every half a second while channeling Nullify. So, 2 little card reworks for Torvald to run things off. Next, let's take a look at Willo. Her 2 least popular talents are being buffed. Nightshade will now refund 25% of the dead zone's cooldown if you manage to hit an enemy with it. And this includes even if you don't hit them with the initial burst, but instead they just walk into the dead zone like this. So throw the dead zone there, and then as soon as Pip walks into it, I get the cooldown reduction there. But yeah, if you just hit him directly with it as well, boom, there's 25% cooldown reduction. So you're able to spam the burst and spam the dead zone a bit more effectively. Also, Scorn will increase the damage done to shields with the secondary seedlings. They will now deal 1500 damage over 2 seconds to any deployable shield hit. It specifies deployable shield. This will not work on personal shields, so this is not just an instant, mega hard counter to Torvald. This is more specifically referring to shields that are deployed out from a champion like Barik's shield, Fernando's shield, or Makoa's shield. Here's a very funny card change. Shuffle has been doubled in its scaling, meaning it now provides 100% movement speed while Dimensional Link is active. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, that's the thing now. So, hey, there you go. Ultra fast Dimensional Link. You want an extra movement ability on top of your movement ability? Well, here you go. And finally, Zhin is getting some improvements to his talents. First of all, Guillotine will now refund 20% of the ultimate charge if you kill the target with your ult. So, this makes it you can spam a bit more effectively. I have lost the sound effects, by the way, but yeah. So I kill that Fernando and I get 20% of my ultimate back. Now, it's very important to note, if you get an assist, then you will not get the cooldown reduction. This is specifically an on-kill effect, as you can see, especially by the wording. So be careful that your allies don't steal your kills. And also, if the enemies have damage reduction, remember that Spite is direct damage. So if they have Haven or any other form of damage reduction, then you will need to prime them a little bit with your weapon attacks before you go in for the kill with Guillotine in order to secure that 20%. More importantly, though, they have reworked Yomi. This previously was a very boring talent that just provided you a damage amp on your weapon for free. No condition required. You just do more damage. Congrats. This talent now makes it so that Whirl will ignite enemies hit for 3 seconds. Ignite is a new status effect that will make it so that they take more damage from Inferno Blade, and that's basically it. So it's basically like another form of damage debuff on the enemies, and I assume if the devs want to add more interactions with Ignite in the future, for example making Inferno Cannon do more damage to enemies that are ignited, then that will be a path for them down the road to make more use out of this new status effect. And yeah, the second clause of this says that your Inferno Blade will now deal 20% increased damage to targets that are burning or ignited. So, this also has a major synergy with champions that can apply burning. Fernando obviously comes to mind, but also champions like Tyra or even Saati. Remember, Blastback applies a burn. He will have a synergy with all those champions now. So, grab this. You can also use it with a Spin to Win build. Finally, a talent that actually amplifies this build. We can whirl through and then deal increased damage like that to Victor. And as you can see, that does actually improve the kill threshold on Victor there. That was able to kill him in 1 fewer shots, and we are doing major damage to Fernando right there. And yeah, if you want to follow a Fernando player around this patch and just have this damage bonus permanently, then you can. This is a way to basically give Zhin a new form of synergy with certain characters, and also have a talent that provides him a damage bonus while requiring him to use more than just one brain cell. Finally, there are a few bug fixes to go over. They have fixed an issue where Defrag Dinara wasn't using the proper weapon death effects, and have also added these effects to Salt. They have also fixed an issue where Vanquisher's Lance, which was the lance for Fernando on his new skin for Ranked, and also the new recolor this patch, this had a constant loop and overly loud audio while firing. Also, they have updated Wormjet's description to properly convey how it augments booster. This is not a balance change for Drogoz. They have not affected how it actually works. They have just fixed the description. And also, Grover, massive bug fix here. Wisps of Sylvanas will now properly provide a movement speed increase to Grover and his allies. Previously, it was only providing that boost to Grover himself. Dawnforge also will now play music, yay, and there are still a few known issues they are looking at. The new skins added this update are using the original skin icons, the Play 3 arcade game step of the Merry Mayhem quest incorrectly says 2 in its title, Trials is still showing and rewarding the previous set of challenges title, and they are also investigating various pre-patch issues such as some movement speed effects masking each other strangely, highly selective login issues, and chests displaying the wrong reward during opening. So, yeah, still some bugs that are on the radar that are actively being worked on. But yeah, that is going to do it for everything in the Ska'drin Celebration update. So if you found this video to be helpful, of course make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more videos from me. I'll also be streaming the update later today and just a few hours after this video goes live, so check me out over on Twitch as well. And also, just in case you forgot, if you want to buy crystals for the new event pass, then make sure to head on over to my Nexus over here, nexus.gg/AndrewChicken, and you can buy the crystals here, support the channel directly in the process, officially affiliated with Mojo, so I'd really appreciate your support. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out.